Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for joining. So let's start with our Bhagavad Gita. We are reading chapter 4, Transcendental Knowledge, and we have to start from verse 26 today. Any questions till last verse, till 25? Doubts, questions, realizations, corrections? Anything anyone wants to share? Naveen Prabhu or Devansh Prabhu? Hare Krishna, Namita Mataji, and Vani Shri. Thank you for joining. So just to catch you up, last few verses, I will not go into everything again, but just last few verses. Krishna is describing different types of sacrifices. So we learned that we should work in the mood of sacrifice. So working with detachment in the mood of service for the pleasure and satisfaction of Krishna, that is called a karma or nishkam karma. And that is a type of sacrifice or yajna that one can perform for the pleasure of Supreme Lord. So basically, whatever activity one undertakes, whatever job or profession or work they're assigned, that work should be done as a yajna. So then Krishna described how that is a yajna. He described that how what is the ahuti or oblations being offered in the fire. What does fire represent? What is the fuel or butter in that case? And who is the person, the soul that's offering that yajna? So all these things have become spiritual, and so the destination of such a person, the result of such a yajna will also be a spiritual destination. So that was the verse, let's say 24th or 25th. That was the verse 25th, sorry, 24th. So 24th, we discussed about this Brahma Arpanam, Brahma Havir, Brahma Agnau, Brahmana Hutam, Brahmeva Tena Gantavyam. So they'll go to like a spiritual destination, Brahma Karma Samadhina. And such a work is called Brahma Karma or a spiritual work. It's a divine transcendental work. It is not on material platform anymore. Then Krishna said, so that's how a yajna is performed. When one works, then that work becomes sacrifice. But then he said there are other people who do other different types of yajna. So this was the last verse that we discussed, where he described two types of people. One are devas, and the others are, sorry, one are the deva worshippers, and the others are the worshippers of Brahma. Brahma means, so Brahma or Brahman means impersonal aspect of the absolute truth. So I know Ramchandra Prabhu had some questions about that. So um, let me
Namaste Mataji. Namaste.
discuss that. Namaste
Namaste
Prabhuji,
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So Prabhu, was your question that what is this impersonal Brahman or Brahm, right? Was that your question?
Yes, Mataji. So,
Okay. Okay, let's
yeah,
read.
yeah. Non-form, Mataji, Namaste. Non-form of Brahma or form of Bhagavan.
Yes.
So, some people they will believe only non-form of Brahma.
Hmm.
Some people they are believing
Hmm.
form of Bhagavan.
Right. So let's
And
understand
one
this.
more
What is?
last point, Mataji. Some people they are pronouncing as he. Some people are pronouncing as she.
Hmm.
That's it. I'm done.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so probably he or she is very simple to answer. You understand that the he or she basically refers to the gender that one gets in a body, right? Material body.
Hmm.
So Supreme Lord is beyond these gender identifications. Still, since that's easy to answer, I'm just taking that question. Still, in our scriptures, typically Purusha, uh, Purusha refers to or the supreme person. Okay, supreme person or enjoyer. Okay, so Purusha refers to somebody who enjoys. Okay, or a supreme person. Prakriti, so typically Purusha is referred to as he. Okay. Prakriti or something that is enjoyed is considered a she typically. Okay. This is considered a she. Okay, now this is nothing to do with bodily gender identification like we understand in our material bodies. Okay, this is nothing to do with anybody's genital organs. This is basically the position of a supreme person as the enjoyer, and he's the only enjoyer. Okay, in the entire cosmos, he's the only Purusha, he's the only enjoyer that enjoys everything. Prakriti is the enjoyed. Prakriti basically means any energy of the Lord. Okay, this can include jivas also. Okay, this includes not just matter like material energy or the prakriti like the world. It includes both the world and the jiva, because jiva is also part and parcel or energy of the Lord. So jivas are also enjoyed by the Supreme Person. So actually all jivas in spiritual terms are enjoyed by the Lord. So they are she. Okay, they are basically in the position of being enjoyed. Whereas a supreme person is in the position of enjoyer or he. That's why typically we refer to him as he. But he is the only Purusha. Everybody else is Prakriti or enjoyed. Now, what the way we understand he or she, that is a very temporary understanding that is based on the material body only. Okay. So that is only coming from whether in this particular body that a jiva, so jiva gets different bodies. We know that, right? They change body in different lives. So in this particular body, he may be identifying as a male. And so he may be temporarily referred to as a he. Okay. Or in the next body, he may get a female body based on his genitalia. He may get a gender of female, and so he will be referred to as a she. So for him, this is based on material designation of the body, this he or she. This is not how spiritual understanding is. Okay, so that's why the only Purusha, the only male, the only supreme person is the only enjoyer is actually just the Supreme Lord. Everybody else is enjoyed, and therefore Prakriti or therefore a servant or energy of the Lord. Is that clear, Prabhu?
Yeah. Yes, Mataji. Yeah,
Okay, so other than that, let's take the first question before we move on to this verse.
yeah.
So we talked about in verse 25 two types of people. One are Deva worshippers or Devata or demigod worshippers, and the others are the worshippers of impersonal aspect of the absolute truth. What is this impersonal and personal? Okay. So first of all, absolute truth or Param Satya, okay, refers to the Supreme Lord. He is the only absolute truth. Okay. So absolute truth is the Supreme Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam in the first canto describes that there are three aspects of this absolute truth. Okay. So the three aspects of the absolute truth are the light coming from the body of the Supreme Person. Okay. That light is called Brahma Jyoti, the effulgence, you can say. The effulgence coming from the body of the absolute truth is called Brahma Jyoti, also called Brahman. Okay. Brahman, or we can say Brahm. Brahm. The other, the deeper understanding, this is the most superficial understanding, okay? Most superficial understanding. It's not very deep. Then the next aspect of the understanding is that Lord is present in everybody's heart. He has expanded himself into each and everything in this world, into each and every entity, living and non-living entity in this world. Okay. So that is the presence of Lord in the form of Paramatma. Okay. Paramatma, who resides with living entity in the heart. This Paramatma, in English, we call him super soul. Like we are soul, he's super soul or Paramatma. Okay. This is also partial understanding. This is also not the perfect or deepest understanding, but it is the next level after Brahman. So there are certain spiritualists or certain yogis that meditate on this Brahman aspect of the Lord. They just want to merge themselves into this light of the Lord. They only understand the light of the Lord. They do not understand the Paramatma feature of the Lord. Paramatma feature of the Lord is worshipped by some more developed, more advanced yogis like jnanis or certain ascetics, like they go into forest and they sit. They have complete self-control, complete sense and mind control. They sit in dhyan on Paramatma. Okay, they want to understand the Paramatma aspect of the Lord, which is the next level of understanding. Okay, more deeper level of understanding than the Brahman. And the highest level of understanding is the understanding of Lord as a person, which has a form. Okay, like you were saying about the form. So this person has a form. Light does not have a form. Okay, light is just effulgence. As we can see, light is all pervasive. It's spread everywhere. It enters into everything. So it does not have a form. But this deepest understanding of the Lord is the person or form of the Lord, which is called Bhagwan. Okay, this is called Bhagwan. So this is called Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagwan. And in this order, the understanding is developing, understanding is becoming deeper. In this, the most superficial understanding, the most incomplete understanding, the person just wants to merge into the Brahman. Then, when his understanding matures somewhat, he wants to worship the Paramatma. And when he has the most mature, most advanced, and deepest understanding, the topmost understanding, he wants to worship and serve the Bhagwan, the person form of the Lord. Not only worship him, not only serve him, but he wants to have a relationship of love with him. He wants to reignite the relationship that he has forgotten with Bhagwan. So, with Bhagwan, one can have love, one can have service, one can have exchanges and relationships. This is the highest understanding. This is a form. So, is this clear, Prabhu?
Mataji, it's very difficult to understand because I understood in vice versa until now, but I will try to follow Mataji.
What is
I
difficult,
understood
Prabhu?
till now vice versa.
Oh, like
So Bhagavan
you
form.
thought this was the least understanding and that was the
Ah,
highest. Is that
yes,
right?
Mataji.
Okay, okay.
Yes, Mataji. But I
Yes.
will try.
Hmm.
But I understand the.
Sure, Prabhu. Yeah, it takes time
Mm,
to fix the.
yes, yes,
Hmm.
Mataji. So currently, it's still one more last point, Mataji.
Hmm.
Do you have yoga system in your area? In
The
your
what system?
yoga system.
Yoga system. What is that system, Prabhu?
Yoga system. It's a
Uh,
part of Ramayana.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I have the book, one smaller and one small big one.
Yeah, yeah. Yoga system. It's a
Yoga.
Ramayana's, but I don't know whether it is Valmiki's
Oh,
written.
okay, I got it.
There's still confusion. Yoga system.
Hmm. Prabhu,
Uh,
what we do is typically we are following in the tradition of Gaudiya Sampradaya, so in which Prabhupada was the latest acharya, the latest teacher. So we try to stick to the books that Prabhupada has translated because then everybody is on the same page and we have the same understanding because we are learning from one teacher. Because remember that Lord is unlimited, right? You understand Lord is unlimited? So
100%.
he
Yes, ma'am.
gives understanding to different teachers in the mood that they approach him. Okay. So if their mood, let's say the teacher's mood is to approach the Brahman aspect, or they have a very ascetic type of approach towards the Lord. So then Lord will reveal those particular forms of himself to that particular teacher. So, since we are interested in bhakti yoga, we are understanding, we are interested in devotional service to the Lord. And Prabhupada in the modern times is a teacher who has given the perfect understanding of bhakti yoga, of devotional service to the Lord. Not only the devotional service, but how to implement, how to incorporate that devotional service in our modern life. Like he has given us principles A, B, C, D, E, which has made it very easy to practice devotional service in our modern life. So my and this is not just mine, but in our Krishna consciousness tradition, our teaching is to not get confused by variety of books and variety of teachers. If you do, just like in any other, even on material platform, as you see, if a student gets admitted to a particular medical school, then they should follow the mood of the teachers there. The way the teacher teaches there, if they just, hang on to that type of style, then they will get perfection. But otherwise, one day he's attending in this school, then he goes to some other school, then he goes to Europe, then he goes to US, then he goes to Iran or Iraq, and then comes to India, then some Sri Lanka, China, Japan, then he will be
Okay.
lost. So it's very difficult to get a very concentrated, very mature, developed understanding in a particular style. And this, if this is true for material teachings, for material sciences, how much is this true for spiritual science, which is very difficult to understand anyways? And our life is very short. So I would not recommend going here and there in search of different types of books, obscure, unless you are very familiar with the teachers and their practices and their philosophy, and it's applicable in this Kali Yuga, then I would approach those.
Yes, yes, Mataji.
But Prabhu, I was going to show you this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam that I quoted. So
Uh,
this is called, it goes like this, very famous memory verse. वदन्ति तत्तत्त्वाविदास्तत्त्वं यज्ञानमद्वयं ब्रह्मेति परमात्मेति Bhagavanitti Shabdyate. So this verse tells you the Tattvavidas. Tattvavidas means people who have understood the Tattva. Tattva means philosophy or the science. So people that have understood this spiritual science, Vadanti, they say, what do they say? That this absolute truth, okay, this is understood in three forms. Brahmeti, so Brahmeti is Brahman, okay, Paramatmeti, Paramatma, and Bhagwan, okay, Brahma, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. So these are the three aspects of the Supreme Lord. And then you can read this verse, it's in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.11, how there is gradations. And it goes from Brahman, then Paramatma, and then Bhagwan being the highest. So form of Lord is always, very, very glorious. That's why great teachers, great poets, great scholars, they actually describe the name, form, qualities, pastimes of the Lord. The light cannot have names, light cannot have pastimes or activities, right? Like Lord Ram, you're talking about Ramayana. Lord Ram's character, Lord Ram's activities, his exchanges with his devotees, right? They are sung to this day. They have purified millions and millions of souls. That kind of power only Bhagwan or a person that has a form that exchanges pastimes, that performs activities can have, right? That kind of power. Light alone does not have that power. Even Muslims and all mostly typically worship the light. So they say, right, Noor, आपके चेहरे का नूर है ये. So they're just aiming for, people are mostly aiming for effulgence. They don't have the deep understanding of the form of the Lord. So maximum people have inferior understanding. That's why Brahman aspect is more famous. Okay, because is let's say first grade math easier to understand or 10th grade math easier to understand?
First grade.
So
Yeah,
more people will drop out in 10th grade or first grade,
10th grade.
right?
Yeah,
So you will
yes,
have
yes.
fewer people in higher grades or more difficult platforms, and you will have more people in lower platforms. So Brahman is actually easy to understand. It's easy for people to not serve. It's easy to not want a relationship because people are frustrated with their relationships here in this world. So they don't want another relationship in spiritual world anymore. So they just want liberation. They just want to finish this existence and merge into the light. That's easy. It's an easy way out where we don't have to serve, we don't have to establish a relationship, there is no emotional connection. So it's easy to worship or to merge into Brahman. But service is difficult to get by, okay? But once you taste the service, it's difficult to go back to Brahman because devotional service is nectarian. So once you have
Yes.
the taste of devotional service, the Brahman Paramatma is very hard paths to follow, actually. To be honest, they're harder to follow. And you will see that in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna will say that himself in 12th chapter. Arjun will ask this question, the same question that you asked, what is harder? So actually the harder is worship of Brahman and Paramatma. And worship of Bhagwan becomes very easy because there is a person involved and person will reciprocate with you. He will shower his mercy on you, right? You will have his blessings. He'll be involved in his life. You will see his plans. He will be speaking to you. So it becomes actually easier.
Yes.
But for now, just remember these are the three aspects of absolute truth. And the last verse we read, Krishna said that some people worship because, and you can see even in this verse, Krishna first mentions Devata worshippers and then he mentions the impersonal worshippers. So it's not a very high platform. Then let's go to the next because we have to discuss different types of sacrifices today. So still a little bit of technical portion of Bhagavad Gita is going on for next few verses, but these are just different types of sacrifices. So please lead and follow. Shrotradi indriyani anne
उत्तरादिनी
अन्ये
क्रियाणं
सम्यम् आग्निषु जुह्वति सम्यम् आग्निषु
सम्यग्निषु
जुह्वति
जुह्वति
शब्दादीन् विषयानन्या शब्दादीन्
शब्दादीन्
विषयान्
विषयानन्या
इन्द्रियाग्निषु जुह्वति इन्द्रियाग्निषु
इन्द्रियाग्निषु
जुह्वति.
जुह्वति.
Can somebody read this translation?
Hare Krishna.
Yes, ma'am.
Some, the unadulterated brahmacharis, sacrifice the hearing process and the senses in the fire of mental control, and others, the regulated householders, sacrifice the objects of the senses in the fire of the senses. Purport: the member of the four divisions of human life, namely the brahmachari, the grihastha, the vanaprastha, and the sannyasi, are all meant to become perfect yogis or transcendentalists. Since human life is not meant for our enjoying sense gratification, like the animals, the four orders of human life are so arranged that one may become perfect in spiritual life.
Why don't you just hold on? We didn't do the Sanskrit. Let me just do that very quick.
Yes.
So just let's understand what Yagya Krishna is mentioning. So last verse, the type of Yagya he mentioned was, and I'll show you a slide which has summary of all of these Yagyas. So he said that some Devata worshippers will sacrifice their possessions, like material possessions, for pleasing the Devatas, and they will get some fruitive temporary benefits. And then there are other class of worshippers who want to merge into the Brahman aspect of the absolute truth, impersonal Brahman, and they will get liberation. Then he's mentioning another type of yagya. So he said the unadulterated. Unadulterated means pure. Brahmachari. What they do is they sacrifice hearing process and senses. So look at this. Shrotradi indriyani anne. Anne means other people. Shrotradi. Adi means etc. So hearing etc. senses. Like not just hearing, but all the other senses also. Samyama Agnishu Juvati. They offer them into the mind control. Shabdadi and Vishayan. Vishaya means sense objects. They offer sense objects, for example, Shabd Adi. Shabd means words, into the sense control. What does this mean? This is not, I mean, let's not just gloss over it, okay? Let's understand it completely. So I don't just want um, to go into the details. What does it even mean? Somebody takes a while to open this. Yes. So, does anyone remember the hierarchy of control? Maybe Pooja Mataji will remember if that's her today. So I'll write some words and you tell me how should a hierarchy of control go. This is intelligence, mind, senses, sense objects. So how should we, who should control whom? Should the senses control mind or should the mind control senses? Who knows this?
Mind control senses.
Mind should control senses, right? Who should control intelligence, mind or soul?
Soul.
So good. Who should control sense objects?
Senses.
So this is the hierarchy, right? So soul should control, so intelligence, mind, and senses. Basically, this is the hierarchy. Understood, right? Please keep this in mind forever. Like just don't even, let's not have to repeat this again. Now let's look at what Krishna is saying. So Krishna is saying, and you know that there are various senses. You know that one of the senses is hearing. So Krishna says, let's take the example of hearing. So hearing, he said hearing, etc. senses. The brahmachari offers the senses into the fire of mind control. Is this right? Is that what he should do? He should let mind control his hearing? and other senses, or no? Right? So we should let the mind control the senses. Is that right? So he says that the hearing and other senses are controlled by the mind. So a perfect brahmachari will offer his senses, for example, hearing, shrotradi indriyani, hearing, etc. senses are offered into the control of mind, into this fire of mind control. So this is the first two lines of this verse. Does that make sense?
Yes, Mata.
Okay. Then, Sakshi Mataji, is that clear? I'm just picking on people that are participating.
I'm sorry, Mataji. Can you please explain again?
So, you understand this hierarchy that mind controls senses and senses control sense objects,
Hmm. Yeah.
right? You understand. So, for example, let's say senses mean I want to hear something, okay? I have a choice. I can either hear this class or I can go hear pop music, okay? Rock music, okay? So now, if my mind is controlled, it will tell me to hear this class and not rock music. Is that right?
Hmm.
Is that right or no?
Correct. Yeah.
So if you are a perfect brahmachari, you have offered that sense for, we're just taking, Krishna is just taking the example of hearing. He has
Hmm.
offered that sense, his hearing, into the fire of mind control. Is that right?
Hmm.
He has
Yes.
allowed his mind to control that sense properly. Is
Hmm.
that right?
Yeah. Yes.
Let's say you have to eat something, okay? You have a choice to eat Krishna prasadam or you have a choice to go to restaurant. If your mind is well controlled, okay, then it will tell the senses of, it will tell your tongue, okay, to eat Krishna prasadam and not go to the restaurant. So you will choose, your senses will now choose to eat Krishna prasadam. So what have you done? You have offered your senses, your tongue in the service of Krishna. Is that right?
Hmm.
So basically you have offered, Krishna is saying this is like offering your senses in the fire of mind control. Allowing your senses to be controlled by the mind properly is like offering your senses in the fire of mind. Okay?
Hmm. Okay.
So this can apply to any senses. Krishna is just taking example of hearing. He said shrotradi indriyani, but this example can apply to eating, hearing, speaking, going to certain place, or touching something. Right? We have
Hmm.
five senses, five knowledge acquiring senses, and five working senses. So it can apply to all of those senses. Is that
Hmm.
right?
Yes.
Then in the second two lines, he's saying that a perfect brahmachari offers his sense objects. Sense objects are called vishaya. We have discussed this also in the past that sense objects are called vishaya. So, for example, what is the sense object for hearing for our ears? What is the sense object? What are they interacting with in this world?
So,
Sound with shabd. Is that right? With shabd. So Krishna is saying shabdadi. He said, what is the exact word? He said shabdadi Vishayan
beyond.
Anyam. So he's taking the example of sound or shabd. He said, offer the sense object in the fire of sense control. Okay. So basically, your mind is controlling your hearing is controlling what it hears. Okay. Your mind taught your senses, don't hear rock music, hear Bhagavad Gita class. Okay. So your ears have decided now to engage with the words, with the sound of Bhagavad Gita, and not with the sound of this world. Does that make
Hmm.
sense? So this perfect brahmachari has offered the sense objects in the fire of senses, sense control, and senses in the fire of mind control, which means his hierarchy of control is going in perfect direction. His mind is controlling his senses is controlling sense objects. So he's very much self-controlled person. So this is
Hmm.
also considered a sacrifice. So imagine this, just coming to this Bhagavad Gita class, choosing what your senses are engaging with in this world, what you are eating, what you are touching, what you are watching, what you are hearing, what you are speaking, where you are going. All these things, if you control, that means that is also a yajna. So Krishna is saying some perfect brahmacharis. So Krishna is using brahmachari because brahmacharis have a very self-controlled lifestyle. So they do not engage with worldly things at all. Their mind is very much controlled, and with that controlled mind, they're able to control the senses. So senses will not engage with the sense objects of this world. They will engage with spiritual sense objects. Okay. So their ears will not hear random sounds of this world. They have trained them to hear only the transcendental sounds. Their eyes will not watch, let's say, random movies, but only things that are helpful, like forms of Lord or Tulsi Maharani or other, spiritual forms. Similarly, they'll taste Krishna Prasadam. They'll not allow their tongue to taste any objectionable things of this world. Like this, their mind control is causing sense control. Sense control is then controlling the objects with which they engage in this world. So this is the um, meaning of this verse. Who has questions about the meaning before we go to the elaborate purport?
So two type of people, they are um, controlling the senses, controlling the sense objects. Correct, Mataji?
Two types of people meaning what, Prabhu?
Um, few people,
Few
few people.
few people.
Uh,
Yes.
few people are controlling, or they are doing yajna to controlling the senses. Few people are controlling the sense objects. Correct, Mataji?
I'm not sure if I understand your question, Prabhu, but the main thing is everybody should be living like this. We all should be living like this. We should be controlling our senses. We should be controlling who our senses engage with, right? Interact with. Like what my eyes watch, what my ears hear, what my tongue eats, or what my tongue speaks. Where do my limbs take me? What do my hands do? What does my skin touch? So we should have restraint. We should have control on this. Okay. And that is also considered a yajna. So brahmacharis are given here, but we should all have this type of control, whether we are a brahmachari, grhasta, or whoever. We should control the contact of senses with the sense objects, and we should control our mind so that the senses is also controlled. Does that answer, Prabhu? I'm not sure.
Yes, Mataji. Correct. Yeah, I got it.
Okay. So now Prabhupada is talking about the four four ashramas, not varnas, four ashramas, brahmachari, grhasta, and vanprastha, sannyasi, and how all these people are meant to become perfect yogis. This is what I was saying, that everybody needs to try to become a perfect yogi, somebody who's self-controlled, whose mind, senses, and contact with sense objects is very controlled. Okay. Ultimately, the verse is talking about sense and mind control, self-control. Self-control means controlling senses and mind. Okay. So, but if you want to understand for our advanced uh, readers of Bhagavad Gita, if you want to understand the word for word meaning of each verse, then I'm giving more details through hierarchy of control, that this is like how this is like a sacrifice, and what Krishna means when he says you're offering your senses in the fire of mind control and you're offering the sense objects in the fire of sense control. So Mataji, let's read about the description of Brahmachari ashram that Prabhupada is giving from here.
Yes. The brahmacharis or students under the care of a bona fide spiritual master control the mind by abstaining from sense gratification. A brahmachari hears only words concerning Krishna consciousness. Hearing is the basic principle for understanding, and therefore the pure brahmachari engages fully in Hare Namakirtanam, chanting and hearing the glories of the Lord. He restrains himself from the vibrations of material sounds, and his hearing is engaged in the transcendental sound vibration of Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Similarly, the householders who have some license for sense gratification perform such acts with great restraint. Sex life, intoxication, and meat eating are general tendencies of human society, but a regulated householder does not indulge in unrestricted sex life and other sense gratification. Marriage, on the principles of religious life is therefore current in all civilized human society because that is the way for restricted sex life. This restricted, unattached sex life is also a kind of yajna because the restricted householder sacrifices his general tendency towards sense gratification for higher transcendental life. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So restricting all our senses, any of those senses, Prabhupada is calling it, Krishna is calling it yajna. He's only giving the example of hearing. Please understand this. Shrotra adi indriyani. Similarly, shabd adi vishayan. So, but we have to control all our senses, and there are 10 type of senses, 5 knowledge acquiring senses and 5 working senses. Okay, so Prabhupada has also taken the example of sex life. Unrestricted sex life, for example, is not recommended, and marriage purifies that. So in marriage, grasta engages in restricted sense gratification. So this is also kind of yajna. So yes, Krishna has mentioned brahmacharis, but actually everyone needs to control their senses and different types of senses. All senses should be controlled. And more we should try to maximize engagement with the transcendental sense objects, transcendental vishayas, not with the worldly vishayas, not with the worldly sense objects. Okay. Sense object, everybody understands what it is? Things that, yes, go ahead.
There is a mention about the Gita. He's been saying that for non-vegetarian food is not.
Prabhupada, Prabhuji, I can't hear you very nicely. It's very blurred. Can't hear properly. Can you put that in chat or?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, there was a mention that about the meat eaters. Is he talking about the kind of food that we are supposed to eat? My question is non-vegetarian food is.
Prabhuji, still hard to understand. I'll just explain, or somebody else can explain. So, who will explain what vishayas or sense objects are? Can somebody mention the 5 foremost vishayas?
May I, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu.
Shabd, Roop, Ras, Gandh, Spars. So
Can
Shabd
you
is the
say in
sound.
English, Prabhu? Yeah.
Yeah, Shabd is the sound, Roop is the form, Spars is the feeling, Ras is the tongue, like tasting, and Gandh is the smell.
So Prabhuji mentioned, so these are the 5 sense objects, and we've discussed these in the past, right? So we have discussed senses also. Remember, the mind should control senses. Senses are 10. There are 5 which are knowledge acquiring and 5 that are working senses. And senses engage with the sense objects. Sense objects are called Vishaya in, you can say, in our scriptures or in Sanskrit. They are called Vishaya. Okay. Remember that song? Vishaya chadiya habe shuddha habe mana kabe ha mahere bo Sri Vrindavana. So if we do not get freed of the lust of the sense objects of this world, how can we get darshan of Vrindavan Dham, right? So we have to really get rid of these sense objects. But what are the 5 types of sense objects? Prabhuji mentioned Shabd, which means sound, Gandh, which means smell.
No.
Then
Rupa, form.
Roop is form. Yes, Mataji. Sparsh, which is the touch, right? Things that we touch, various things that we can touch. And what we hear ho gaya. Which one is left, Prabhu? Shabd, Gandh, Roop, Sparsh, and
Smell.
smell ho gaya. Oh,
Sight.
The Ras, the Ras.
Rasa, taste.
Taste.
So, taste. So what we so we are not saying to get rid of these things. We do engage with these things, but we just engage with the transcendental sense objects. Okay, so that's why we hear transcendental sounds, like Prabhupada is describing in the purport. We smell the tulsi leaves, right? We or the flowers that are offered to the Lord. We look at the form of the Lord. We touch the feet of the devotees and serve the feet of the Guru, and so many other ways we touch. and taste Krishna Prasadam. So, anyways, this is the sense objects. I just want you to know the words at least. I just want you to know that there is intelligence which controls the mind that controls the senses that control the sense objects. Okay, and this whole system should go in this direction. If our senses start controlling the mind and mind starts controlling the intelligence, then it's all lost. And this is what is happening in this world. The hierarchy of control is reversed. People are under the control of their senses. Their mind is completely out of control, and then their intelligence gets destroyed. Okay, so they do all kinds of bad things to just acquire various sense objects, to just enjoy various sense objects. People do horrific things, all kinds of corruption and sinful activities and criminal activities they engage in, because their intelligence gets destroyed, because the hierarchy of control is going in the opposite direction. So it needs to go in this direction. So this is, if you don't remember the names of the sense objects or senses, that's okay. Just for now, remember the hierarchy, that in which direction it needs to go. That our intelligence should be very mature, very well developed. That's why we are reading these scriptures, so our intelligence can become very acute, very mature. Okay, and this will control our mind, and this controlled mind will then control our senses, and then our senses will not distract us to enjoy the things, those objects, those vishaya of this world. Our senses will not keep disturbing us. Right now, they are like child. They keep disturbing us. Ye bhi kha loon, wo bhi kha loon, right? I want to eat this. I want to see this. I want to touch this. But if our mind and intelligence are controlled, senses will also come under control, and they will not want to enjoy these things of this world. Okay, let's go to the next one. So the types of yagyas will continue for next 3 verses. 27, 28, 29. 28 and 29 we'll take together. Sarvani indriya karmani. Sarvani
Indriya
Karmani.
Prana karmani chapare.
Karmani chapare.
Atma samyamya yogagnamu.
Atmasmya yoga
Juhvati jnana deepite.
Juhvati jnana deepite.
Please read this one.
Yes, can I read?
Yes.
Translation. Hare Krishna. Others who are interested in achieving self-realization through control of the mind and senses offer the functions of all the senses and of life breath as oblations into the fire of controlled mind, of the controlled mind.
Okay, hold on. So this is similar, I mean, also another type of yagya. So Krishna is saying, in the last verse, we were talking about sense control and mind control. Now, there's others, okay, who will, apare means, remember apare means others, who will offer all the function of their senses and life air, life breath, like pran, into the fire of controlled mind. So they have really, really restricted their senses and their breathing. Okay, they have really controlled their breathing also. So these are even more advanced spiritualists because they are practicing very severe type of austerity. So their sense control, mind control, and control over their breath is even more exceptional. Okay. So the last verse is more resonating with our situation as grihasthas, as regular ordinary people. We can regulate our senses, regulate our mind, but these are people who are also regulating their life breath and have restricted the function of all their senses into the controlled mind. So sarva indriya karmani, function of all the indriyas, and prana karmani also. So the function of all the life air also. Atma samyamya, so their mind is very controlled, and this is also a type of yagya, and they do this for self-realization. Okay, they do this for self-realization. So they're more advanced spiritualist. So let's understand these type of people or this type of yagya. Yes, please go ahead.
Yes, Parpat. The yoga system conceived by Patanjali is referred to herein. In the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali, the soul is called Pratyag Atma and Prag Atma. As long as the soul is attached to the sense enjoyment, it is called pragatma. But as soon as the same soul becomes detached from such sense enjoyment, it is called pratyag atma. The soul is subjected to the functions of 10 kinds of air at work within the body, and this is perceived through the breathing system. The Patanjali system of yoga instructs one on how to control the functions of the body's air in a technical manner so that ultimately all the functions of the air within become favorable for purifying the soul of material attachment. According to this yoga system, Pratyag Atma is the ultimate goal. This Pratyag Atma is withdrawn from activities in matter. The senses interact with the sense objects like the ear for hearing, eyes for seeing, nose for smelling, tongue for tasting, and hand for touching. And all of them are thus engaged in activities outside the self. They are called the functions of pranvayu. The apanvayu goes downwards. Vayu, Vyanvayu acts to shrink and expand. Samanvayu adjusts equilibrium. Udanvayu goes upwards, and thus one is enlightened. One engages for these in searching for self-realization. Haribol.
Okay, so just a couple things. So again, all these yagyas, it doesn't mean that we have to practice any of these, okay, or all of these. This is more to understand what different people do, okay, because Krishna is just listing what different people do. And it is for us to compare and contrast the difficulty of the process and understand that some processes are actually very difficult and not very uh, tasteful or comfortable. They are very, very hard to perform in this day and age. So this is one of those process, okay? But still, let's understand what the concept is, why people, certain spiritualists practice this, okay? So first is, Prabhupada has given two terminologies, Paragatma and Pratyagatma. So Paragatma is the soul or jiva that is very attached to sense enjoyment. They want to enjoy with their senses a lot, okay? Their senses are uncontrolled and they want to enjoy the objects of this world. That is a Paragatma. Pratyagatma is somebody who's detached from such enjoyment. So this verse is describing Pratyagatma. This soul, this jiva, these spiritualists, these type of yogis have a lot of sense control. They are detached from sense enjoyment. Their goal is self-realization. Okay, they are interested. So people that are interested in achieving self-realization, they have very much controlled senses. Okay. So that's the baseline. Senses are controlled. Their mind is also controlled. But what else have they controlled? They have also controlled the function of their life heirs. Okay. So if you see, we are, we started with Devta worshippers, then impersonal worshippers, then sense control, and now these people have sense and mind control. They're already pratyagatma. They're very detached souls, but they also have control of their life heirs, and this is not easy to achieve. So what here we have to understand is there are 10 types of life heirs. Okay, I'll just give you a quick summary of this. We don't have to delve into it. The 5 are primary life heirs, and there are 5 that are secondary life heirs. So there is air, as you know, is one of the main elements of this material world, and it is present in our body and has a very important role. Pran, I think everybody knows pran is the life air. It is entering into our body. This is what we inhale. This is the air that we inhale. This is what is oxygenating our tissue and nourishing our body and cleansing and purifying our body, right? This is supporting various functions of the body. But not only pran, each type of life air has its own function and is very important. All these life airs need to be in equilibrium in order to allow the soul to function in a detached way. Okay. So if these life airs are not in equilibrium, a lot of functioning of the body, right? Soul is connected to the body through these life airs. So the life airs are sort of this medium, this connection between the soul and the body. So if these life airs become out of balance or contaminated, then the body starts manifesting diseases and all. Okay, various functions of the body becomes impaired because of life air being out of balance. So, for example, we know pran vayu is the inhale, is the air that we incoming air, the respiration, the inhalation. It's the incoming air. Apan vayu, please remember pran and apan at least. It may be difficult to remember all the ones, but pran is the incoming air because Krishna will mention pran and apan many times. So just remember these two at least. Apan is the exhaled air, the outgoing air, which as even if you know some science, you understand pran is the oxygenated air and apan is the has carbon dioxide in it. So it's a contaminated air, right? It takes out all the contamination from the body. So it's eliminating the waste from your body. This is the apan. Then there are other, like Prabhupada has mentioned, Vyan. Vyan is responsible for circulation throughout the body. Saman Vayu is responsible for digestion, nutritional assimilation and equilibrium, basically. Udan Vayu goes upward. So this is something that helps us in speaking, singing, in self-expression, basically, in how in expressing oneself. Udan Vayu helps. Okay. So in this way, each Vayu, these are the five primary airs. Then there are so many other airs. They're called sub pranas or up pranas. They also have their own function. So like that, these help us to keep vital energy in the body. They help us in the physical and mental function of the body. So this particular yogi has very tight control on his life airs also. Okay, so they practice pranayam, they practice breathing exercises, and they are very much in control of these different types of airs in the body. Okay. I'll just, since this is what Prabhupada has given, this is a whole science unto itself. But since this is not something we practice other than some basic pranayam, some basic breathing exercises of deep inhalation and focusing on your incoming and outgoing breath, those are the basic exercises that we typically follow to even, it is said that before chanting, one should take a few deep breaths in and out, focus on your breathing, count at least 10 breaths and focus on each incoming and outgoing air to just kind of poise your mind for chanting, to just stabilize, bring your mind to this consciousness of focusing on the holy names. Or anytime you have, you think you're getting angry, you're getting anxious, you feel like you're losing control of the situation, it is recommended that you take deep breath in, and so it takes you out of this worldly consciousness and helps you focus more inwards. Basically, it brings you back to your inner world, back to your inner consciousness. So by just basic breathing exercises also, one can see a difference in their consciousness immediately changes, and suddenly one feels detached from the external circumstance, or a difficult circumstance outside. So you might have seen that. But let's Krishna will talk more about these life airs in next few verses. So let's keep going. Let's do 28 and 29 together. Dravyagya tapyagya yoga yagyasthatha pare yoga
Yoga
yagyasthatha
yagyasthatha
pare
pare
swadhyaya jnana yagyascha
Swadhyaya jnana yajna
yataya samshita vrata
Yataya samsita vrata.
Can somebody read this one? Namita
I
Mataji?
can read, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Having accepted strict vows, some become enlightened by sacrificing their possessions, and others by performing severe austerities, by practicing the yoga of eightfold mysticism, or by studying the Vedas to advance in transcendental knowledge. Should I go ahead, Mataji?
Let's do both, Prabhu. So we'll do a next one also. So just to see the Sanskrit here, 4 types of yagyas, actually 5 types of yagyas are mentioned directly by Krishna. You can say 4. I would say 4. Swadhyaya Gyan is just 1. So Drav Yagya means sacrificing your material possessions, whatever one's possessions are. That's called Dravya Yagya. Tapo Yagya means doing some austerities, okay? Taking some voluntary austerities on the body, like for example, fasting or giving up certain things, not material things, but some kind of vow to take certain types of restrictive, regulative vows. So those type of austerities, Tapo Yagya. Yoga Yagya. Yoga Yagya is Ashtang Yoga. So we'll discuss the Ashtang Yoga a little bit. And Swadhyay Gyan Yagya. Swadhyay Gyan Yagya means to study the scriptures, the transcendental knowledge or the Vedas and attain knowledge. Swadhyay Gyan Yagya. So this is also a type of Yagya. So what we are doing, like I said, this is Yagya on many levels. We have restrained our senses. We are controlling our intelligence, our mind. We are refraining from sense objects of this world. So this is a yagya on many levels. So these 4 yagyas are mentioned: Drav Yagya, Tapo Yagya, Yoga Yagya, Swadhyaya, Gyan Yagya. Krishna is basically going through all kinds of yagyas that are possible, all kinds of sacrifices that are possible in this world. Okay, let's do the next one and then we'll read there. Okay, this talks about more details of the prana and apan. Apane juhvati pranam.
Apane
जुह्वति
pranam.
प्राणे पान अपानम तथा परे. प्राणे
प्राणे
पानम
पानं
तथा परे.
तदा
तथा
परे
परे
प्राण अपान गतिरुद्ध्वा. प्राण अपान
Apane
गतिरुद्ध्वा.
gariturdva.
प्राणायाम परायणा.
Pranayam
प्राणायाम
parayana.
परायणा
अपरे नियताहारा. अपरे
Apre
नियतारः
नियताहारा. प्राणान् प्राणेषु जुह्वति. प्राणान्
pranan
प्राणेषु
praneshu
जुह्वति.
juhvati.
Okay. Can somebody read this? Namita Mataji, you can read.
Still others who are inclined to the process of breath restraint to remain in trance practice by offering the movement of the outgoing breath into the incoming and the incoming breath into the outgoing, and thus at last remain in trance, stopping all breathing. Others, curailing the eating process, offer the outgoing breath into itself as a sacrifice.
So this is more of the pranayam mentioned here. So here the person has reversed his breathing process. The incoming into outgoing, and the outgoing into, he's breathing the opposite way. Okay. So Prabhupada will give more understanding of this, that how this leads to equilibrium in the body, how these persons are engaged in prolonged inhalation, okay, and prolonged exhalation, and finally they even stop their breathing, okay. So that's the meaning of the first verse here. So the verse has been broken here. So Prabhupada has broken this and the next verse. So you see this verse has 6 lines in it, because the next verse after this will only have 2 lines. So, so the first 4 lines talk about this reversal of the breathing, pran into apan and apan into pran, and finally achieving a stage of cessation of life air. Both currents of air are stopped, and they stop their breathing. And then Krishna talks about also controlling their ahar. Ahar means food, and in this way achieving perfect self-control by controlling their eating and their life hairs. So let's read this purport. Mataji, go ahead.
This system of yoga for controlling the breathing process is called pranayama. And in the beginning, it is practiced in the Hatha Yoga system through different sitting postures. All of these processes are recommended for controlling the senses and for advancement in spiritual realization. This practice involves controlling the airs within the body so as to reverse the directions of their passage. The apana air goes downward and the prana air goes up. The apan air goes downward and the pran air goes up. The pranayama yogi practices breathing the opposite way until the currents are neutralized into puraka, equilibrium. Offering the exalt breath into the inhaled breath is called uh, Rechaka. When both air currents are completely stopped, one is said to be in Kumbhaka Yoga. By practice of Kumbhaka Yoga, one can increase the duration of life for perfection and spiritual realization. The intelligent yogi is interested in attaining perfection in one life without waiting for the next. Or by practicing Kumbha Yoga, the yogis increase the duration of life by many, many years. A Krishna conscious person, however, being always situated in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, automatically becomes the controller of the senses. His sensings, being always engaged in the service of Krishna, have no chance of becoming otherwise engaged. So at the end of the life, he is naturally transferred to the transcendental plane of Lord Krishna. Consequently, he makes no attempt to increase his longevity. He at once raised to the platform of liberation, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 14.26.
Read from this text.
One who engages in unalloyed devotional service to the Lord transcends the modes of material nature and is immediately elevated to the spiritual platform. A Krishna conscious person begins from the transcendental stage and he is constantly in that consciousness. Therefore, there is no falling down, and ultimately he enters into the abode of the Lord without delay. The practice of reduced eating is automatically done when one eats only Krishna prasadam, or food which is offered first to the Lord. Reducing the eating process is very helpful in the matter of sense control. And without sense control, there is no possibility of getting out of the material entanglement. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we'll just take these two verses together because both are mentioning still different types of yagyas which are not very relevant to a Krishna conscious practitioner. So just let's understand for our knowledge. So in the last verse, there were 4 types of yagya mentioned, right? Drava yagya. Drava yagya means offering material possession. So Prabhupada, I skipped that purport. Please read on your own. But Dravya Yagya, Prabhupada is describing basically giving away your material possessions. So mostly refers to charity. So people give for charitable foundations or established charitable institutions, hospitals, orphanages, or schools and whatnot. So that is a type of, if it is done with now it does not become yagya unless your intention is that of sacrifice. So the intention is very important. Just the charity or just giving up of material possessions does not matter. If the intention is that of service or satisfaction of the Supreme Lord, then that activity, in any activity, it's the intention that will change the consciousness, right? In any activity, it is the intention that makes it yagya or sacrifice or service. So just the activity itself does not make it a yagya. The intention of service makes it yagya. So giving away things for charity will make it dravyagya if performed with the intention of service. So remember that this intention of service is the baseline when we are talking about any yagya. Okay. So this is Dravya yagya. Then the next is Tapo yagya. Tapo means to do various austerities. So Prabhupada has given example of people following various strict vows, like they follow Chaturmasya vow, in which each month in those Chaturmas, in those 4 months of Chaturmas, in each month they refrain from certain eatables, certain objects, and then they do certain extra things also. There are many do's and don'ts that they follow. So that is called Tapo yagya. That is just one example of tapasya, but many ways tapasya can be done. This is Tapo yagya. Then there is Yoga Yagya. Yoga Yagya is the Ashtang Yoga of Patanjali that is described in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. This is the Ashtang Yoga, also called Hatha Yoga. Okay, we'll just quickly discuss the Ashtang Yoga also. So this is Ashtang Yoga. And the 4th that Krishna mentioned in verse 28 was the Swadhyaya Yagya or self-study or study of scriptures, like we are doing here. Swadhyay or study of Vedas, study of scriptures. This is the attaining knowledge. Now, just understand the Ashtanga Yoga. So, Ashtanga Yoga, as you can see, the name itself implies it has 8 limbs. Ashtang, okay? It has 8 limbs. What are those 8 limbs? So, maybe different people can speak up. Who knows the first one? Say one at a time.
Yama.
Yama. Okay. And no looking online. So from memory. I'm expecting whenever we ask questions, people are answering from memory.
Yeah, Yama, Niyama. Yama, Niyama,
Who's answering?
Lakshmi.
Lakshmi.
Yes, Mataji.
Mataji, do we know you? Please introduce
Last class
yourself.
we joined actually. Last class it was our
Very
first
good.
class.
Wow, thank you for joining. Amazing. Yes, Mataji.
Thank
So
you.
Yama, so I'll just stop you there so that other people can contribute. So what is the meaning of Yama and what is the meaning of Niyama?
Austerities and disciplined life.
Yeah. So basically, Yama means not doing some things, like, right? Following some restrictions. So don'ts, not doing certain things. And Niyama means to follow certain things, like observing certain rules. Niyam means rules. So to follow certain rules, like do's. So do's and don'ts. Yama and Niyama. Okay. Mataji, let's see if somebody else answers. Huh?
Pranayam.
Pranayam. So
Yeah.
before that, there is one more. But yeah, pranayam is number 4. So pranayam is the controlling of breathing, right? Breath control is pranayam. Yes, this is what Krishna has described as one of the yagyas, which is one of the very important aspect of achieving equilibrium and self-control. And
Asan, Mataji, asan?
yes, asana. Asanas is the one before this. So asanas means what?
Posture,
Yes.
sitting posture.
Yeah. And this, as you know, if you think about it, even in our modern world, this following do's and don'ts is very common, right? People do follow certain restrictions and regulations. They don't just eat whatever they want. They do follow certain diets, certain things that they avoid, right? People don't just unrestrictedly, like if you're intelligent, I'm talking about intelligent people who have certain awareness of their existence in this world. They will follow certain rules and regulations. So even as a normal human, ordinary human, this is what to speak of yogis. We are speaking of an Ashtang yogi. So what to speak of a yogi, even ordinary people, if they have some basic sense of existence, they should be following some rules and regulations, some do's and don'ts, yama and niyamas. And similarly, in modern life also, we see that there are so many yoga centers which offer breathing exercises and various postural exercises like flexibility, stretching, right? Because they understand that these things do help us in our existence in this world. We need to purify our breathing, our breath. We should have some control on our breathing. And Prabhupada is describing very nicely in the purport that these yogis have such advanced breath control that they can even increase the longevity of their life. So they can reverse their breathing, they can prolong their inhalation, hold their breath for a long time, then prolonged exhalation, finally stopping, cessation of breath. All these things they do to improve the longevity of their life because they know the value of human life. And in this life, they have to achieve self-realization. So, and then plus this type of breath control puts them in a very advanced consciousness actually. So this is pranayam. And then comes all about more elevated consciousness. Now, by following these basic things, a person has achieved some mind control and they're able to focus on their goal of self-realization. So what is the next 4 steps? Number 5, who knows?
Pratyahara.
Pratyahara. So what is that, Prabhuji?
Going inwards, withdrawing ourselves from outward and going inwards.
Right. So this is basically withdrawal, you can say, withdrawal of senses. So our senses are right now, I'll just write withdrawal. Our senses are very much focused on the outside. So inward consciousness, withdrawal of senses from outside world, pratyahara. Okay. 6.
Dharana.
Dharana. Okay. So Mataji, what is dharana?
Concentrating on one thing, one point.
So basically,
Namachapa.
Huh?
Nama Japa Mataji. Dharana.
Nam Japa, okay. Yeah, Nam Japa, yes, it is beyond the Ashtang Yoga. It is a transcendental activity. So this is more, I mean, yes, we are practicing mind control in chanting holy names. So yes, we can say our mind is focused. But it is not considered a limb of Ashtanga Yoga per se. So, because holy names are beyond the jurisdiction of any of these yoga systems. So, it is a very, very divine activity to chant the holy names. So, it is a category unto itself, I would say. And it's sort of muddles the water if we can use this focused mind to chant the holy names properly, yes. So, you use this controlled mind to then chant the holy names, but I don't think this will be called as such, if you understand what I'm trying to say here. It is
Yes.
like two different sciences altogether. Okay, next two.
Dhyana,
Dhyana. Yes. So dhyana is what?
meditation. I mean, stopping the mind from thinking.
So yeah, so this was control of mind, concentration, and this is deeper, even deeper absorption, right? So even more deeper meditation or absorption on your, um, if it's Paramatma or Brahman or some Aradhya of yours, so that is dhyan or meditation. And then ultimately, everybody knows this.
Samadhi.
This is samadhi. So samadhi means complete trance. So this person has lost all outward consciousness completely. He's completely connected to his goal. He's in trance. He is on a spiritual platform. He's on that Brahman platform. He's now connected to the spiritual consciousness completely. So he's in complete absorption or trance. So this is just a quick summary of the Ashtanga Yoga. Now, so this was verse 28, okay? Did we do 28 completely? Dravyagya, Tapoyagya, Yogyagya, Swadhyaya Yagya. And then verse 29, Krishna is talking about the details of pranayam. And Prabhupada has mentioned some technical words here that how if pran and apan, so pran is the inhalation, pran is the life-giving air, apan is the eliminating air, exhalation that eliminates the waste from the body. So they can be controlled in such a way that one achieves a state called purak or equilibrium. And finally, when they're both stopped, that state is called kumbhak yoga. We're not really expected to know these terms as Krishna conscious devotees. So if you would like, please go ahead. But otherwise, the point is that there are a lot of breathing exercises, a lot of advanced breath control that can be practiced by these advanced Ashtanga yogis or Hatha yogis in that system. It is very impractical in these days. Like I said, we perform basic breathing exercises and try to control our mind, our senses for detachment and for purpose of purifying our consciousness to the extent that it helps us in chanting the holy names. Our goal is to chant the holy names as to the best of our ability as possible. And we engage these other practices of mind control, sense control, do's and don'ts, all these other things to the extent that they help us in chanting of the holy names. More than that is not needed. Because human life is very valuable and we try not to follow impractical systems that may be very complicated for our body. The last thing is Krishna has mentioned reduced eating. So, niyat ahara. So, regulate or restrict the eating. So, this is a very big aspect of our tradition that we have to have very restricted or regulated eating in terms of both quality and quantity. So regulated eating means that we are not only controlling how much we eat, which, a lot of people, they do control how much we eat, so the quantity, but also what we eat, which is quality. And not only that we are eating vegetarian diet, we are eating Krishna prasadam. So vegetarian diet alone is not enough. We offer all the vegetarian food that is cooked in proper mood of service with love for the pleasure of Supreme Lord, and then it is offered to the Supreme Lord, and then it is accepted by the devotee and it becomes prasadam. So we accept that bhoga is offered and accept that as grace of the Lord or prasadam, and that Krishna prasadam automatically restricts the quality and quantity of food that we eat. So again, prasadam itself is a very important topic. Other than chanting, eating Krishna prasadam. These two are our most important practices that we follow. I think I'm hoping that most of you will take up the process of both chanting and eating of Krishna prasadam only. So this is 28 and 29. So then 30 to 33, I don't think we can cover these. We're discussing the purpose of the different types of yoga. So Krishna was going to discuss why do we do these things? Why do different people do different types of yogas?
Right.
So we will do that next time. But today, let's just take some questions because otherwise we're always running out of time for questions. I know this is all technical, but Krishna is just going through these different types of yagyas or sacrifices that different people with different understandings and different moods engage in different types of yagyas. But all yagyas are ultimately for satisfaction of Supreme, for service of Supreme, and they should lead to self-realization. They should lead to detachment. They should lead to purification of our existence and to spiritual consciousness, spiritual advancement. So he will talk about the purpose of these yogas in next 4 verses. And then will come a very, very important verse which we have to memorize, 4.34. So next class, actually, we will open with trying to memorize that verse, 4.34, next time. Please try to memorize it on your own if possible. So far, we have memorized 4.7, 8, 9, and 11. So those of you who are keeping track and noting it down, 7, 8, 9, 11, and next we will do 34. Okay, let's take any questions, reflections, realizations. Namita Mataji, were you sharing something?
No, Mataji. No. Good.
So, all these yajnas are connecting to God or purpose of yajnas?
Yes,
Mataji.
Prabhu. Ultimate purpose of yajna is to connect to the Supreme Lord, but people go about it in a very roundabout way. For example, we talked about simplest example is Devata worshippers, right? So Devata worshippers are worshipping the demigods, the Devatas, Devi Devatas. They are doing yajnas for their pleasure. So, and the result they want is some temporary benefits, right? Some material benefits. Let's say they do yajna because they want a child. So it is a benefit they want in this world, and they're approaching a demigod, a deity for this purpose. So, so this is not, I mean, this is not the highest understanding, but still they are going through a Vedic authority. They are going through a servant of the Supreme Lord. So it will not be, it will not, it will cause some entanglement because their intention is not service. Their intention is some to enjoy in this material world more. So there will be some entanglement, but it will still not be. It will still not be to the same extent if they did some upays, something else, without the Vedic authority. Right now, at least they are going through the Veda, through the yagyas that are mentioned in Vedas. And in the very next verse that we are not doing today, the next verse 30, Krishna will say that all these yagyas are mentioned in Vedas. So the purpose of Vedas is that gradually everybody will come towards the supreme understanding, but some people are going about it in a very long manner, like they're taking stairs instead of taking elevator. So they're following a very roundabout path. So they still have a few lives to go before they will just do yajna, like a Sankirtan yajna or yajna which leads to the love of God. Right now, their aim is not love of God, so they will not get love of God right now. But still, some purification will happen in a step-by-step manner for these people because at least they're following Vedas. At least they're following Word of God. So we have to understand Vedas are so wonderful. They're so extraordinary that they have given paths for different types of people because there are all kinds of people in this world. There are people that have very low understanding and people that have highest understanding. There are all gradations, all classes of people. And Vedas give path for purification of all classes of people. right? Everybody has different desires. So Vedas will help you achieve those desires. They will give you a process to achieve those desires, but slowly they will help to purify you also. But it will take long time for the person who is on the lower rung of the ladder versus who's on the higher rung. So as bhakti yogi, we are trying to be on the higher rung of the ladder. You understand rung of the ladder? Like ladder has steps, right?
Yeah.
So somebody who's on the higher rung or higher step of the ladder, he should not look downwards at the lower steps. The people on the lower steps will take a while to get to the higher step, but gradually they will also get there. So ultimately, everybody is getting purified and advancing towards Krishna, towards highest spiritual understanding, but it will take other people longer who are not aiming for love of God, whose intention is not very pure, whose intentions are still material intentions.
Yes, ma'am.
So yeah, there are processes given for different people according to their current situation, their current desires. Yeah.
Yes.
Is that?
Mataji, I
Yes,
have a
yes. Thank you.
Yes, Prabhu.
I believe that demigods are also a manifestation of Krishna. Like it's another avatar or something. Is my understanding correct?
No, Prabhu. So they're not avatar of Krishna. Avatar means when Krishna comes in different forms or different moods. For example, Narsimha or Varaha or Vamandev or Kapila Muni, right? These are considered the avatars. They're the different forms that Lord takes to achieve a certain purpose in that particular situation. Like as Narsimha, he is reciprocating with Prahlad Maharaj. His goal is to punish this Hiranyakashipu who is torturing his devotee Prahlad. So that's his purpose right now. So he's coming in this very angry because he's very angry that his devotee has been tortured. His devotee is being tortured by this demon. So he's coming in this very ugra, very bhibats, bhayanak roop to scare away, to punish Hiranyakashipu. So he has a very particular mood, particular role, and a purpose why he's coming. Similarly, Krishna is coming in his different mood, different form, and has different type of pastimes, different type of rasas and exchanges with his devotees. Lord Ram has the mood of ideal man, Maryada Purushottam Ram, whereas Krishna has the mood of Leela Purushottam Ram, Leela Purushottam Bhagwan. So he does leelas, he does pastimes. His leelas are very Bhagwan type, godly leelas that nobody can imitate. Nobody can dance on the hoods of Kalia or lift Govardhan with his finger. Lord Ram's is more an ideal man. He sets the standard, highest standard for a gentleman to act, like how one should have relationships in this world, how one should have one wife, and how one should be respecting their parents and following all their orders, how one should be reciprocating with their brothers and with their friends and with their servants. So he sets that standard. So in this way, those are the incarnations, those are different forms, moods, rasas, exchanges, and variety of pastimes Lord creates in those moods. And some purpose also he fulfills in this world. But demigods are described many, many times in Bhagavad Gita itself as the servants of the Lord, as jivas. They are not Vishnu tattvas. Incarnations of Lord are different tattva altogether. They are Vishnu tattvas. Okay. But like we are jivas, demigods are also jiva tattvas. Okay. They are energy or part and parcel of the Lord. They're not the Lord. They're not just another manifestation of the Lord. They are manifestation in a way that we are manifestation. We are expanding from the Lord. We are part and parcel servants of the Lord. We just don't have those powers, that type of life, that type of body. But these demigods are direct servants of the Lord. So they have a lot of powers. They have different type of bodies, very opulent bodies. They live in higher planets, but not in spiritual world, in this material world. Whereas
Okay.
Narsingh does not live in this material. He lives in his dham, right? Lord Ram lives in his Saket dham. Yeah, all these other forms of Lord live in the spiritual world. But deities, demigods live in this material world only in higher planets because they have certain more, they're more powerful. They have different positions. They have different departments to handle on behalf of the Lord. they do a lot of jobs for Lord. So they are like jivas, jiva tattvas. Does that make it clear, Prabhu?
Yes, Mataji. And also there are people like sages like Sai Baba. Who are they?
Prabhu, I will not speak directly about Sai Baba himself because there are two Sai Babas, according to my understanding. One is a real sage or saint, and one was some kind of imitation. So I'll just speak about sages
Yes.
I'll just speak about sages and not about a particular sage. So we'll keep our discussion more general and not specific. So sages, for example, any saints, any swamis, any of these great learned people that come in this world can be of two types. Okay. So, and this understanding is all given a lot of times in Bhagavad Gita, but also in Bhagavatam. Actually, the verse that I'm asking you all to remember, 4.34, talks about these greatly learned people and how we should submit to the authority of these learned people. So these learned people are of two types. These people are very advanced. They have spiritual consciousness. They are connected to the Lord. Okay. They may belong to different traditions. Okay. Like we are what we call Gaudiya tradition, which means our supreme teacher is Krishna, then Brahmaji, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then long line of teachers coming down directly from Krishna. But then there may be some teachers that come in Rudra Sampradaya. These are all Vaishnav Sampradayas. There may be teachers that come, so for example, Shankaracharya, or there may be Ramanujacharya, right? Sri Sampradaya, Nimbarkacharya. So there are different sampradayas, different traditions. Okay. They're all qualified, bona fide, authentic teachers. Okay. So these sages, and I'm not going to talk about fake people also. Okay, I'm not going to talk about people that are not sadhus, that are corrupt. Those are not worth talking about. We're talking about real learned people, sages, saints that are in spiritual consciousness, that have achieved that Brahman platform, the advanced, they're connected to the Supreme Lord. These people can be of two types. One is people that have achieved perfection in their life by following sadhana, by following a set of practices, like what we are trying to do. We're trying to follow a set of practices, right? A process. We are following a process. So then we become perfect in life or siddh in life. This is called sadhana siddh, liberated people. Okay, learned people or liberated people. So there is sadhana siddh. Then there are other people that are called Nitya Siddh, which means they are eternally liberated. They were sent by the Lord for the purpose of spreading knowledge in this world. So a lot of like Goswamis or apostles of the Lord, right? That spread, just like in Christian tradition, there are these people write the Gospels of Lord, or in our tradition, they write so much narration, so much commentary on our Vedic scriptures, all these great acharyas, great swamis, great Goswamis. A lot of these are Nitya Siddh, they are eternally liberated souls. But regardless, these are all learned, liberated people. And when one comes in contact with such an advanced learned scholar or soul, devotee, then we should submit to their authority. We should serve them, hear from them, and learn from them. But yeah, these are also jivas. These are not Vishnu tattvas. These are all, and they will never call themselves form of Lord or incarnation of Lord. That is one of their quality. That is one of the qualification. They will not claim that they are Bhagwan. They will always say, "I'm a servant of the Lord. I'm a devotee of the Lord, or I'm just spreading the message." And they will have their previous teachers. They will be connected in a tradition also. They will never claim that they're Bhagavad Tattva or Vishnu Tattva. They're Jiva Tattvas like us. But they're just liberated, while we are Baddha Jivas or conditioned souls. We are trapped in this world. They are liberated either by following a process or they came like that. So, does that...
Yes, I'm very clear. Thank you.
Thank you for asking nice questions.
One question. In the 4 stages of life, that brahmacharya ashram and Grihasthashram. Is it correct thing to directly jump from Brahmacharya ashram to the Sannyas ashram, or should we go through the process of Brahmacharya, Grihasthashra, then Vanaprastha, and then later Sannyasa?
Very nice question. You all are so, there are no easy questions. It's very, very advanced. So Mataji, yeah, so there are four what we call spiritual orders. Okay, ashramas are called spiritual orders. This is part of Varnashram system. So the way our life goes is Brahmacharya ashram, Grahastha, Vanprasth, and Sannyas. Okay. So Brahmacharya is typically everybody should follow that. Again, we are talking about a Vedic society. In modern world, hardly anybody is following this. But in Brahmacharya ashram, one should get some spiritual training. One should be trained in scriptures. One should follow celibacy. Celibacy means completely refraining from sexual activity. And they should practice sense control, self-control, like mind control, all those things. So their main focus is knowledge, acquiring knowledge. Okay, that is Brahmacharya ashram. Now your question is whether we go to Grahastha or can we go to Sannyas. So first of all, very important understanding, we've discussed this before also in our classes, it comes in Bhagavatam. There is a verse which says that in Kali Yuga, actually, sannyas ashram is not recommended. It is actually prohibited. Okay, so sannyas means to just completely give up the family, give up any professional duties, and completely surrender with body, mind, and words to the Lord. Okay, not making any money. You don't know where your next meal is coming from, where you get to sleep. You don't have a roof over your head. Completely surrendered. Okay, no way to know where your physical bodily maintenance will come from. Okay. This is not recommended. This sannyas ashram is rewarded to very few special souls in this world. Okay. So, and that is judged by a group of people. So, for example, in our tradition, the sannyas ashram is given to very few souls that have proven their qualification, that have a long life of service to the Supreme Lord, that have shown that they are capable of serving in this mood for rest of their life. Okay. And a body of, let's say, devotees will judge and decide whether these people can be rewarded sannyas or not. So nobody is recommended to just whimsically take sannyas in this yuga. Okay, that's one understanding. So, okay, sannyas, let's say we may not be qualified for sannyas because we are not there at that platform. So then the question is, can one go from brahmacharya to can one skip grahasthashram? Then that will be then, I think, automatic. Next question. So this is a very weird answer, according to our teachers. It is said that all women should enter into grahasthashram. Okay. And all men should stay brahmachari. So make what you will of that answer. But the point is that but ultimately the practical answer to this is we have to explore our tendencies. If you think you can spend your life in service, in acquiring knowledge and spreading knowledge in such a strict sense control, and you don't have any desires for sense control, then you can skip grahasthashram. But typically men are recommended to do so, and in that case they just stay brahmachari. So we have many brahmacharis in our temples, in our tradition. Vanprastha does not hold any significance because then they're just staying brahmachari basically. If they did not enter into grahasthashram, they just say brahmachari. And then if they're qualified, they may receive sannyas ashram, but very few people get it. Women are typically recommended to enter into grahasthashram because there should be, because one of their duty is to also bring children in this world. So this is one of the prescribed duties for women also. So that is one of the reasons, but also it is described that they should have some like a male to maintain for maintenance and for protection as per our scriptures. So they're not recommended, but there are female brahmacharis also in our tradition, but they will receive guidance from their superiors. So I will not go too much into that. But if you have some inclination for sense gratification, then Grihastha is the best, because in Grihastha you can have, like Prabhupada was saying in the purport, regulated sense gratification. So regulated sex life, regulated eating, you can make money, but we need Grihasthas. Actually, we encourage people to become Grihasthas because Grihasthas contribute to bringing devotees in this world. They contribute to spreading Krishna consciousness movement. They contribute to economic development of this world. We need grihasthas who will enter into professions, because as a brahmachari or sannyasi, you're not entering into any profession. So we need people that are in high up jobs and are devotees and spiritualists, right? We need people to bring spiritual consciousness in this world. So for many reasons, we need grihasthas.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji.
So thank you for asking wonderful questions. Okay, anybody else has anything to share, to add, to share their realizations? Or if not, we can stop. If not, we'll stop. We'll continue next time. Hopefully another 2 or 3 classes, we'll finish this chapter and then we'll have a quiz. So please keep reading on your own. Please keep memorizing these verses. Next verse that we memorize will be 4.34. Thank you everyone for joining. Very, very grateful to each and every one of you. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for all the people, Mataji.